Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody? Good morning. I don't know what time is it from where Gabriel is.
It's good morning. It's 4 a.m. here. So hold on, we're trying to get the stream to work. There we go. We're ready. We're ready to start. We're ready to start.
Okay. Good morning, Gabriel. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Dixon Megera. I'm a development devotee, basically with a keen interest on working with children and young people. And currently I work for Save the Children with a main focus on safe schools environment, and also supporting the child protection system in Tanzania, advocating for good governance to deliver on child rights. That includes education and protection from all forms of violence. So with Tanzanian team, I will give a general introduction on the trends of education in the country, and then the colleagues who are with me here, who are the experts, especially in their areas, they will expound further on how they're trying to fill in the gaps that we have, and that we have a consensus in the country that those are the gaps that needs to be addressed. So Tanzania is essentially a very young republic, 58 years old republic, and 62% of the population are people under the age of 24, young people. So we are among the youngest nations in the world. The education system that we have is a 7-4-2-3 system. So you have 7 years of primary education, and then after graduating those 7 years, you go to secondary school education, which we call it honorary level, which is 4 years. And then you have 2 years for high school or advanced level. And then you have 3 years to 5 years, depending on which course you will take at the university level. We have 120 tribes in this country, so we are very diverse, but our national language is Kiswahili, and an official language that is used in most in education system is English. At primary level, English is taught as a subject together with Kiswahili, mathematics, and science. And then secondary school up to university level, English is the only medium of exchange. I mean, medium of instruction in schools and the whole education system. Like other social services, here in Tanzania, we have private schools and government schools. Now, as it is for the most part of the continent, if I may say, there's lack of incentive and instructional materials to teachers in public schools. And these public schools, most of them are located in rural areas. And even if they're in urban areas, they're not in affluent neighborhoods. And the private schools that we have, there are few, especially primary private schools are few. And most of them, the medium of instruction is English, but these private schools are expensive. The same applies with secondary schools, which are also public and private secondary schools are also very expensive and not a very feasible option to the majority of the population in the country. However, the perks that comes with that is private schools happen to be a bit equipped compared to public schools. And also the class sizes are not as big as public schools. And even in terms of infrastructures and instructional materials, the situation is better in private schools than in public schools. Again, this begs the question of access to those private schools. It's not everybody, or it's not the majority that can afford that. So current trends that we have in the country as far as the education. And these are like the general trends. So the government is attempting right now to standardize the delivery of education at a lower cost. There's free education on part of public school, from primary school to secondary school. And also another trend is the government is moving towards inclusive education. So there's an emphasis on inclusive curriculum, and also educators should be well versed in identifying students' developmental needs and being able to create curriculums in classrooms that adheres to the principles of inclusive education. Now, there's a debate whether that policy has been implemented, or it still remains an unimplemented policy. Ochoa is the right person to deep dive on those areas. He will have more to say. But also there's an emphasis right now on equal access to education and equity, ensuring that we have not just safe schools, but also schools that caters to the specific needs of girls, and also all people with special needs. Now, the major challenges, to mention a few, being a multi-diverse and ethnic group, whereby we have 120 tribal languages and Kiswahili as the national language, but also English as a language of instruction. There's always been a debate on that area as to whether having English as a medium of instruction is the best way to impart education and inspire critical thinking and creative thinking as far as the realities of the environment are in Tanzania. Teachers also, it's hard to retain them, especially in rural areas, whereby even though the current trend, the rural-urban migration is getting bigger and bigger every day, we still have a very significant population in rural areas, and they need proper education, and it's tricky right now to retain teachers in these rural areas. Also, retention of girls in schools. It's also another major challenge that we have due to poverty and early pregnancies. Child marriage comes in the picture, so dropout number is also another challenge to retain girls in schools, ensuring we have equal education and equal access to girls and boys. The biggest of all is that even those who have access to these schools, be it private or public, the education system is still a 19th century industrial revolution type of education. And we're in 21st century, fast-paced, everything changes every day. And the contradictions that we have is both elites to common people love innovators, yet we're not doing good enough job to create these innovators or prepare them in our schools. Academic ability still trumps creativity and intelligence. And again, as a result, we still are obsessed with marks and framing data and essays, rather than having creative people who will be able to adapt, innovate, and create in a 21st century whereby technology, creativity, and flexibility are the main tools of development and main tools that will help young people to be in a position to resolve the challenges of the community. So how do we change this? In our panel, we have Mr. Ochola, a coordinator of the Tanzania Education Network. He's been in this area for more than 10 years. He's going to describe to us the context on regarding the syllabus that we have and what they're trying to do to improve syllabus and the curriculum and the teaching methods. And also, we have Anande Nko. She's my very good friend. She's my sister. She's a managing director of Job Opportunity. She's an advocate and a member of Tanzania Law Society. Works with private organization in Tanzania and government, but also, as me, she has a keen interest with young people and they're trying to equip young people with the skills necessary to thrive in job market opportunity and the entrepreneurial endeavors. And last but not least, we have John Zira. He is a director of social innovative centers. They have STEM clubs, and John will also speak on how they teach young people to be creative and innovative. And in this segment also, John will share stories with us. We thought we will have few of the young people that have been through their program, but due to the timing and different and competing priorities, they will have to tell their story. So I hope you will indulge us on that. So that being said, I would like to welcome Ochola so that he can take us to the first segment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dixon, for a wonderful ice-breaking introduction. And good morning, each one of us. I'm so glad and delighted to connect. I know these conversations would transcend to the next level as we continue to engage and discuss issues of importance to our nations, especially educational, which is our business here. I work with an organization called the Tanzania Education Network. This is an umbrella organization bringing together CSOs in the educational sector. And currently there are both. Hello.
Yeah, you now.
Excuse me. Can you hear me? There was an interruption on my phone here for communication, and
yes, we can. You're coming in well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was at a stage saying work with educational network with a membership of 158 NGOs, both international and local, scattered all over the country. And one of the primary areas that we work on is to ensure every learner in Tanzania has an opportunity to engage in quality, inclusive education. But on the other end, we are cognizant that it's the government of Tanzania, it's the state responsibility to provide and deliver quality education for all its citizens based on what they want to the extent of their level and ability through which they can attain any level. So this network has been in operation for the past 20 years, and we are one of the strong allies of the government in terms of provision of technical advisory role in issues around policy, but also in issues around planning, budgeting, and related areas. So I just want to pick from where this Dixon has just ended, and I thank you for shedding light on our educational system. And I just want to come up from a different angle with the system that we are presenting as the system that is in operational 7-4-2-3, 3+, it can be 4 and above, because we have courses that goes up to 4 years. And of recently, I've been in a discussion with the government. We'll be reintroducing formally teaching education was 4 years, but it was reduced to 3. And we are the 4-year system is coming back. So I just want to let you know, our partners and colleagues who are here, that it would be, our system could be 7-4-2-3, and above for some specific training. But again, what also I want to reemphasize on the system before I quickly jump into the curriculum is we have a policy which is called the Educational Training Policy of 2014. There is a mismatch currently. I know there are things that didn't work very well when this policy came in place. There is a mismatch on the policy and the system that we are that is in operation now. The policy states is 6423, but again, in the practical aspect, that has not changed since independence. So currently, the government is reviewing the policy, ETP for policy, education training policy, and those are some of the things that are also being discussed. What is the relevant policy system, educational policy that is going to take shape in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in Tanzania? So when let me now jump to a curriculum. We are also in the process of doing reviews. And generally, most of these curriculums that we are using now were introduced back in 2015, 2016. And you could see before a cycle of 7 years, we have again embarked on the review. And this one is a massive review. From early childhood development curriculum or pre-primary curriculum to Form 6 curriculum, secondary, upper level secondary curriculum. And this process is going to be completed by 2024. And I know we have been able to participate fully to some extent, especially in the review of education and training policy of 2014. There are so many issues that are being discussed, including the language of instruction, as Dixon has just put it. What should be our language of instruction moving forward? Should it be English? Should it be Kiswahili? Or should it be Kiswahili, predominantly Kiswahili, and the English and other languages be taught as subjects proficiently? So I know there are a lot of discussions around that, and we have had webinars, TV discussion, but also international conference that has just ended, whereby there are so many deliberations on that. So many people are still divided. There are those who think Swahili should be used, but there are those who are saying English should be the language of instruction hand in hand with Swahili. So in terms of our curriculum, all of these curriculums from pre-primary to secondary has taken a position for competency-based curriculum. And that was the philosophy around these curriculums, so that in each particular stage, each particular level of completion, a learner should be able to acquire competencies and skills that are provided within the framework of a curriculum. But again, when we talk about pre-primary, which were curriculum in existence of 2015, the government had a focus on some competencies, which includes a kid of a pre-primary should be able to socialize, should be able to communicate, should be able to understand the
Hello, Chola. Can you hear us?
I think we lost him, yeah.
Okay, we've lost him. So I think he's back. No, we've lost him.
Yeah, maybe you can continue with something else, and then if he comes back, we can patch him in.
Okay, so Anande, do you want to go next, and then when he comes back, he can.
Sure, I can
Go ahead.
proceed. I think it's a beauty of having internet in Africa. Sometimes that is the challenge. And where we are at the moment, it's the digital world. So Karibu Africa, Karibu Tanzania with that aspect. I see he's back. Should I continue or should I give him finishing up part?
Ochoa, are you back? All right, I think you should proceed.
Yes, so as Dixon said, my name is Anande, Managing Director at Job Opportunity, and Job Opportunity fill the gap that the government and the entire education system could not be able to fix in. In what aspect? Because we are dealing with youth who have been dropping out from education system that we really are following it. So when we introduce the 7-4, those are the people that we are focusing in. And in that aspect, Job Opportunity is looking and working closely with youth at age of 18 to 25. And in that regard, these youth are a dropout of Form 4 due to any reason. It could be financial, it could be familial, but also it could be due to the nature of education, traditional education system, it could not accommodate them, and hence they have dropped out. But again, due to the fact that they did not have the education that requires them to move on with acquiring a decent job, then they are marginalized and become more vulnerable in the community. So those are the people we're working on with. Just a random question that I want to pose. Have you ever met people that youth that have great talent, have initiative to work, but again, because of the education system and the nature on how to acquire a job, they can't have a job at all? I believe each person around Tanzania or East Africa, they have come across those people. But trust me, Job Opportunity have worked with more than 600 youth over the years of 10 years plus, to be able to support these youth and be able to improve the economy by being employable, and hence coming back to the community and change their financial economy in their families, but also in their community. So we have been able to change the poverty cycle by using a curriculum that we call it a high five. I would love to share a bit on my screen, a bit of what we do. This can really give you a regard on what we do. Job Opportunity has main curriculum that we are using. It's called a high five. You can see the hands here. And a thumb finger means being positive and professional attitude. An index finger being goal and direction. A middle finger is being, we say middle finger by this, stand out and be proud. But also a ring finger means be loyal and a team player, but also, I love this, take little but smart steps. So that is one area that we are dealing with youth, and then that is training of youth. Basically, we train them for 4 months, in-house training, extensive training, but also after that, we are going to take them to apprenticeship program, which is 8 months. With apprenticeship program, we are taking them to learn by doing. So we are partnering with our partner companies, which are now over 80 partner companies. They teach them how to being a housekeeper, being a service industry personnel, and be able to serve a customer, be able to be a chef. So they learn how it is to deal with service industry. And at the end of it, we get to have a professional student who later on graduate after 12 months and be able to be hired. So you might find this person does not have a fully gone through a traditional education system, but because of the mindset that we have worked with for the past 12 months, they are being able to work and being noticed to be different from the rest of the team that they're working with. So Jobopportunity does a great job. And with our curriculum over the 10 years, we have noticed that it really works. And this is the gap that really is missing in the education system. The 21st century soft skills, even graduates from university in Tanzania is missing that. So we are feeling the big gap while the government is looking at the technical how. Jobopportunity is looking at the soft skills, which most Tanzanians are missing, but also most students who are currently working at their studies are also missing. And in the end, that is what makes Tanzania step back from other countries because of the missing of the soft skills. So we introduced this to be able to support our youth, and it has been proven to work really well. With me, I have Maboni, who is a beneficiary of the program, and currently he works with Jobopportunity as a training assistant, but also he is a person that I think he can grow way better and looking forward and engaging with students who are here. It really adds value to see that it really works, but also motivate other students around here to say, yes, changes are happening. But that is not all that Jobopportunity is doing. Jobopportunity is also working with companies, because we identified that companies are having staff, and these staff have only been trained on the technical how. They're missing the soft skills. You realize someone is very good in what they do, but they're missing few things which are soft skills that will have enhanced their potential and be able to engage with the rest of the stakeholders, but also be able to identify more of their talents. So we also work with companies on the on-job training program that we're calling it Outreach. And Outreach program is we reach to companies, partner companies, and say, hey, basing on our health chart on the company, where do you see is the challenge with your staff, and how can we help in capacity building to your staff? And in that regard, most companies are reaching out, and we have been able to use the high five methodology to do that. But also we have a job matching program. A job matching program is, we are using our graduates pool to be able to say, if you want a professional attitude staff, we have the pool that we can provide for you, and that will be distinguished different from the rest of your staff who have not been in Jobopportunity. So with that by itself, it shows that Jobopportunity is really trying to fill in the gap that is missing. And to be honest, Jobopportunity is the only organization in Tanzania that provides soft skills training, not only to youth, but also to the organization. And with that, someone will be saying, oh, how, I get this question all the time, is how are you changing the mindset of how are you installing the positive attitude to youth? It's something different. It's something that has not been done previously. Basically, our lessons are very different from how the traditional education system in primaries and secondaries are. where you get lectured or you get being taught on the board only, and that's it. What we do is a little bit different because we are student focused oriented, of course, but we involve games, which helps people who are not fast learners, but also to be able to engage. But also we use icebreakers and different activities that will also engage people who might have lagged behind somehow. But also we use experiences. These experiences is from within the organization. For example, when someone is late or the group is late every day and we're teaching about time management, we can, the staff can decide, okay, let's be late one day. And without notifying the team of students and say, okay, come in as normal, moving as normal, but hey, they won't find anybody. So mafunzo kwa vitendo, that's what we say, huh? So they come in and realize nobody's here. How are they working with that? So later on, staff will come in and slowly, later on, we'll sit down and discuss with students. What was the experience? How was it? What did you learn? So that is how we also take them with experience. We also invite guest speakers, and these are people in their career, in their service industry, but also people who have been in a different situation, but they have excelled and make a step. So with that, our students get to learn and be able to acquire the skills that they need. But of all that I'm very proud of about Jobopportunity, we get one-on-one with our students. Our group is never that big. We receive 2 groups a year. And within these 2 groups, we have 60 students. So one group, which comes in January, normally it has 30 students. And another group comes in June, it has 30 students also. So our trainers, because it's a small team, have one-on-one with our students. So they get to understand where they go through, they get to experience the challenges that the students are going, but also be able to create a personal development plan that can fit the students and be able to support that individual student for a change, which is different. You know, public schools can tell you, well, they don't have that luxury or that approach by itself to do that. You find there's 110 students to sometimes 80 students. How can one teacher really have a one-on-one with a student? So with that approach that Jobopportunity does, we found has been very helpful for our youth, in a sense that youth have been very open to their special trainers. And we have been able to support a lot of youth who are facing economic challenges, who are facing family issues, who are coming from very, very difficult environments, and they find Jobopportunity being the safe ground for them. And with that, I think we need to insert this curriculum to the national level, because then we can be able to create the opportunity for youth, but also to move forward with the society or students with soft skills, but also the technical part. Maybe I can invite Maboni to to little bit say how has Jobopportunity has changed him over the past few years that he has joined in. Briefly before I handle it over to Dixon. Karibu Maboni.
Sante, thank you, Anande. I hope everyone is able to hear me.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. We don't want to eat other people's time.
Thank you. So personally, as a high five graduate, I graduated the year 2020, and I'm a Form 4 leaver. By the time I finished my Form 4, I could not be in a position to go to my next level of education, that is going to the college. I struggled, stayed at home for almost 4 years without knowing whether there was a center like Job Opportunity. So after realizing that there is a center that can equip a youth, disregarding whether the background or where the youth is coming from, maybe he is from a difficult background. So when I joined Job Opportunity, I found Job Opportunity very interesting. This is because through the curriculum, first of all, they taught me on a basic way to have a positive attitude. So the positive attitude has indeed helped me a lot. Through my 4 months training in class, at least trainers, they saw something in me and they saw capability in me. I was sent to apprenticeship for 8 months where I worked as a social worker. And thereafter, I was very much interested in doing training. Therefore, I applied to Job Opportunity and they saw that I'm capable. And until this time, I'm glad that Anande also has seen that Maboni can do wonders. So I'm performing, I'm doing a great job. So for me personally, I say that Job Opportunity has made me an employable youth. I can work now, I can change my future, and I'm looking forward to do great things in the coming few years. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you guys. I think that is all that I can share with what we do and how can we move forward. It's more of supporting youth and encouraging the change in the community to bring the 21st century soft skills. So karibuni sana Job Opportunity.
Gabriel, karibu means you're welcome. Okay, guys.
Sorry, Gabriel. You need to learn Swahili a bit, huh?
Thank you, Anande. Thank you, Maboni. John, back to you. We don't want to use up other people's time, so we have 17 minutes to go. I think they're good enough for what's left of the conversation. You're welcome.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dixon. Thank you to everyone who has shared, including Ananda and Maboni. That was really inspirational. And that shows that we're heading towards the right direction when it comes to impacting the education system in Tanzania. So I'm here to present to you Twende and what we do as an organization. So Twende is a social innovation and learning center. We are a makerspace and a registered nonprofit in Tanzania. And what we do basically is to empower people to design, to have the capacity to design and make their own technologies to solve community challenges. Now, note that we've insisted on the word people because we work with people from different backgrounds, different demographics, and different walks of life. That means from 6 years of age to as old as they can get, we have them covered, and our program addresses all of that. We, as I said, empower people to co-create technological solutions, but in the long run, we want to see a nation of problem solvers and people who have been able to use the technologies that they've designed to solve local challenges. We need to see more of this, which is why our vision is to have and to see more local technological solutions to local challenges. Now, the problem that we are facing and the problem that we are addressing as an organization is similar to what others are doing, but we're doing it differently. And we see that the root cause is you guessed it right, the education system that is really, it addresses a lot of other things, but it addresses and celebrates memorization, as Dixon mentioned earlier. So this is one of the gaps that leads us to what we're doing, because the education system does not, for the most part, provide a practical platform and hands-on experience to students to be able to make, especially to make the different devices, especially those in public schools who have no access at all. And most of the things are theoretical. And this has led in one way or the other, the culture that leads to low innovation index when it comes to problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, innovation, and you name it when it comes to people doing that. Because as I said, we've celebrated memorization over problem solving. And this in turn leads to a community that is overly dependent on technologies that are imported, or technologies, or a workforce that cannot make their own technologies. A good example would be graduates of mechanical engineering who have that know-how. They've gone to school for perhaps for 4 years and they've studied what they can study, but they, first of all, didn't have the experience to make the devices, to make technologies. And secondly, they cannot implement what they learned. So they have to, there's so much emphasis on their jobs when it comes to hands-on training. So they have to undergo training one more time and over again for them to do so. So this is also a problem that our communities depend on imported technologies. And we think this is solvable because when we catch them when they're young, it's easy for them to get their interest, to spark their interest in innovation, their interest in STEM, in which they can pursue STEM careers in the future or be able to innovate. So that's what basically Twende addresses. And we do this through a simple design, human-centered design approach, in which we take them through a curriculum where they identify different problems in their communities and come up with solutions. From, yes, I said it, from as young as 6 years of age, people can identify, and I've seen that they can come up with solutions. Could be simple solutions that in turn could be bigger, identify the problems and come up with solutions. So we build that culture and sensitize on especially what they can do with their hands and be more creative. They could be as stubborn as they can get. They can be playful when it comes to making these devices, but that's what we want them to have, to evoke that spirit of making. And we teach them the design process, as I shared here, which is the biggest element in our curriculum. And from there on, with the training that we do, we equip them with the skill sets to co-create prototypes with the community. So with each project, you'd see at Twende, someone has been able to make either a simple device, could be a mobile phone charger or a flashlight, and some have created bigger technologies like multi-pressures, multiple chairs. It depends on that, on the demographics and how they can solve the problems. And in turn, we support them. We support the innovators to come up with the technologies to be able to be used, not like another cool project that they came up with, but something that really helps the community out there. So that's what we basically do. And we support them through partnerships. We support them through technical mentorship and advice. And our well-equipped makerspace is also there to do that. A simple snapshot, or maybe for others could be complex, of what we basically do. I'll take you through the programs, but with an emphasis on how these programs have transformed the lives of many Tanzanians. I'll start with one of our flagship workshops, that is the Creative Capacity Building Workshop, which people come up with simple solutions at first, then later on they modify their prototypes into tangible products. And with that, they leave the program with the skill sets, a transformed mindset that they can create, whether they come from a background of engineering, whether they do not have the know-how, and everyone in the community. So we work with community groups, we work with students, and so, and in the end, they could make their prototypes from either cardboards or to complex prototypes that involve mechanical engineering for the most part. And we have another program that specifically addresses the need now for college graduates and university graduates. And here with me, I have Coleman Detembea, who will share how this program also impacted him in the process and how he's also transforming lives through the program that he took part in Twende. So the program, the Jamii Tech Incubation Program, basically is a program that involves 3 elements: local graduate from universities in Tanzania. By local, I mean any graduate who is from Tanzania. An international student, that is the second element, anyone who is outside Tanzania, and the local community members. And we team them up to make a team that will address a specific challenge. The community member brings up the challenges, and the students team up and bring in their expertise, their knowledge, and the experience on how they can make this technology and solve the challenge. And with this, they are able to, once they've co-created, they can decide on how they move forward with this, whether it's just going to solve that problem, could be a farming problem, could be a problem when it comes to harvesting, or would turn the technology into a business and define the business model. So that's what we do with the program of university graduates. And the program has worked because, one, it has created space for them to have practical tools and know-how for what they've learned theoretically in school. But the other thing is the opportunity to co-create something that would transform lives for themselves, and also hire other people in the process and generate income for themselves and other people. And the other thing is also solving the community challenges that are there, that could be in line of climate challenges, agriculture, food processing, you name it. So that's it with the Jamii Tech Incubation Program. I'll talk a little bit about the Build It workshop then with the Makerspace. And with the Build It workshop, as you can see, it involves kids from kindergarten. And for those who are able to make something and learn, at least listen to the teacher and learn something, for them to make simple solutions for what they either study in school. For instance, we could have students from a specific school that is studying about, they are currently on a topic of direction, that is in geography. So in geography, they are able, we define or find different devices that they could make, including compass directions. Instead of just drawing it on the book, they can make it. For instance, if they're studying about current electricity, if they can make something out of that, they can assemble and make something out of a circuit and make a circuit. So that's what we do and give them that hands-on experience. And the devices are as many as they can get. We've seen people design water pumps, mobile phone chargers, and it will fascinate you when I say people, but let me put an emphasis. It is 7-year-olds, 9-year-olds who can make these things. And yeah, so we've seen that really works well. And one of the other things that we offer is the Makerspace, which is at Twende. I would like to invite each one of you guys, when you have time, please visit our Makerspace. It's a cool one, and it also invites people to, whether they know or do not know how to use the devices or tools, to be able to, and the Makerspace is friendly. I will talk a little bit of how we see what we do impacting the communities. And after that, I'll give an opportunity for Coleman to share his experience with our programs. So with what we're doing, and this includes the innovation clubs and schools that are defined in different modules, could use the creative capacity building, the Build It workshops also. We also have satellite centers and the programs that we run. We envision a system where people are confident in pursuing STEM careers and they find interest in that. So we want them to have greater awareness. We want them to have interest in STEM education and careers, and from there on, it will increase their chances, first of all, of employability, then the other one, the innovation, the ability to make and innovate. So that's one. And the other thing is, with the programs that we offer, including the training workshops, we expect to see people who are able now to address different problems through an innovative approach that they are using. And for this, they can make. And the other thing that we also look is for the youth now, or everyone who's taking part in the programs, to use the technologies well in ways that they solve actual problems in the community. First of all, directly through the work that the technology is doing, but secondly, improving lives through employment and income generation. And that's what we are looking for. And that's what has been happening with our programs. I would like to share a snapshot of what, for instance, in 2021, we've achieved, and in the past 8 years of our existence, how we've also been able to achieve this. So a quick one, you'd see that we reach a lot of people through STEM outreach programs, creative capacity building workshops, as I mentioned there, Build It workshops, but that's not it. We would like to see people be able to design their technologies. So we've reached over 300 youths last year, and through different programs, from the short-term programs to long-term programs, we've seen 8 technologies that have been able to move towards the product testing phase and stage. So that's our achievements in 2021. But right now, I would like to invite one of our innovators, one of our many innovators. We have 9 tech companies that have come from our makerspace. And one of our innovators is Coleman Detembea, who, through the Jamii Tech Incubation Program, designed the multi-purpose wheelchair. And he'll talk more about that. I wouldn't want to spoil that for you guys and for him, but he'll share that and how his company now, which is Chiaro Assistive Tech, is transforming lives and supporting people in the health sector. So over to you, Coleman. Then you give it back to me.
Thank you, John. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Coleman.
Perfect. Well, my name is Coleman Detembea, as introduced. I am the co-founder of Chiaro Assistive Tech. We came in to Twende in 2018 during their first JTP program. Back then, I was a second year student in Mbeya University of Science and Technology, studying a diploma in mechatronics engineering, and I was heading to my last year. So I was pretty much pumped up to see what we were going to do, because it has been said there, we're going to create a technology that is going to be used in the community, which is something I was very passionate about. So we came in, it was me from, as a local student, my fellow Imon from, as a US student, and a school that has a special educations unit. So from there, we were trained, and then we brainstormed, and we saw that one of the challenges we could solve is designing a multipurpose wheelchair for children with cerebral palsy. But that was just the start. So we were there for 3 months. We designed 2 different prototypes. We tested, we got feedback from users, and moved on. Before I tell you how we moved on, I just want to highlight how this process was very much important, especially on something that I'm very passionate about. So in my studying of engineering, I was not sure what I was going to do in the future, whether it's going to involve employment or whatever. But I really wanted to take part in something that's actually going to be used. I've seen a lot of projects being done in universities that end up as scrapers. They have been done for the last year, they're being presented, and this is something that I saw since I reported their first year, is that you find a pile of scrapers of machines that ended up as prototypes. So what's the use of designing and spending months and resources designing a technology that you're not sure is going to be used, or that you're not going to push through to actually get to the user, even if it's just one user? So the element that Twende was bringing in was very important. And that's the commitment we also brought as a team when we met, is that whatever that we're going to make here, it has to get to the users. So Twende helps fill in this gap of taking what we are learning already in school and the resources that are all around us and the knowledge you can get from online, to put it together to actually create solutions that can work for our communities. And this is something that we have taken through in our work, because as you said, we cannot depend on imported technologies, which is very much true in what we are doing. From there, after designing the multipurpose wheelchair, we saw that there's a huge demand when it came to assistive devices, because we depend on imported wheelchairs, imported assistive devices, which are not appropriate for our environment because they have not been built for rough terrain, and they're not appropriate for the users, which because they cannot be customized, they come ready-made, but they're also not affordable. And for those who are trying to make locally, they're not as much appealing, which contributes to the stigma. So This shows you how much true it is that we cannot depend on imported technology. As a matter of fact, WHO suggests and encourages local manufacturing and distribution of assistive devices. So this is how we carry this philosophy on. So we went on to establish an organization that would not only make wheelchairs, but also other assistive devices from small to large that are actually lacking, and through their lacking, they are preventing a lot of people with disabilities from being able to access social services, from being able to access schools, etc. And last year we established our workshop, and since then we have been able to distribute a total of over 350 devices. Out of those, 230 wheelchairs. These have gone to children who are still home and growing up, people who need these wheelchairs to be able to get out of home, the elderly who needed these wheelchairs so that they can be able to be a little bit mobile, to students who either had to crawl to school, crawl when they're in school, or could not go to school at all because they could not access means of mobility. And we are still passing that torch. So because it's also, we are touching on education, we are also passing on the torch and the favor that we receive from Twende by making sure that we improve the education space, by making sure that children with disabilities have means to access education through appropriate assistive tech, be it mobility, and in the future, be it communication, assistive devices, etc. I see time is up. Thank you so very much, unless there are questions. Over to you, Gabriel.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been super inspiring. We have our friends from Spain coming in now, and we need to respect the time, but it's been super inspiring. I'm going to stop the recording now. Do you want to say goodbye to our public before I stop the recording?
All right. Hey, this is on behalf of Tanzanian team, everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you, Gabriel. Colleagues from Spain, Karibu, that means you're welcome.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. We're going to, I'm going to stop the recording now.